Okay.
Right?
So
So
yeah,
this
the
is-
best way is to let it unfold it automatically, because we don't know. I mean, and we can't quit it. If there's
Again, that's
something,
one of the perspectives.
or we should. Some people quit it. Some people quit as well,
Yes, they do.
and some people. Okay, what would happen if we disobey?
We don't give into that. I mean, if there is a kind of mystery that is in front of us and it's very overpowering, and we just really, really give into that what it is demanding, if we
Okay.
don't do that,
Okay.
then obviously there would be pros and cons.
So can we say?
There would be pros and cons for sure.
And this is what the man said when the prince was saying that you should draw a sheep. This
Yeah.
is what the man said.
When he was saying draw a sheep and draw a sheep, and then he gave into that. He said that why I wanted to know that from where has he come from. So in order to know that, he said that okay, I should get over with
yes.
this thing. I should draw
Yes.
him the sheep so that we are done with this whatever banter
Okay.
of draw me a sheep, because whatever, when once little prince asks a question, he never forgets
Can we
that
say
question.
it's the concept of maslahat as well? Or can we say it's the concept of how I don't want to get religious out of it, but there are two examples popping up in my head. When a kid sees a socket, electric socket, and the more it tries to turn the switch on, and the more we try to stop him, he doesn't stop. He just wants to know. He's so curious. He wants to know what there is, and then once he finds out, he leaves it. But the more we stop the kid, the more he gets curious about it, and the more intriguing it becomes, and more exciting it becomes for that person, for that kid. Same goes for adults as well. The more something is mysterious for someone, the more convoluted the person feels about it, and the more intrigued the person feels about it. But if you let it unfold, probably you won't even get excited by the results. Can it be that as well?
That's an interesting perspective to it.
Yeah.
And if the child, they want to, for example, test it, and if they come to know of the danger,
Yeah.
I mean, if they experience danger, for
Yes.
example, touching something, if it's hot or not, when they see it's hot and it's just burning their fingers, they won't do that again.
Yes.
But in our lives, we come across certain choices that at times a few failures or attempts, the challenges, they scare us so much that we back out. But at times, if we are just consistent in that, maybe. So that's also a perspective or a different take to it.
Okay. So
Yeah,
as
okay,
I
so-
said, there are so many interpretations of only one quotation over here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a
so
little more.
it's actually
Okay.
it's a kind of a, I would
It's a
say
book
a
that
gift
speaks
wrapped.
on, yes.
Yeah, because every sentence is a quotation.
Okay.
So what happens is that then he asks, draw me a sheep. He draws a sheep and it has horns. He says that no, that's not the sheep I want.
Okay.
And then he draws another and he says that no. Now this actually looks very sick.
Okay.
And then he draws another and he says it looks very old. And then he says that okay. Then what the writer does is that since he had been creative somewhat in his childhood, so he draws a box and he says that here's a box and your sheep is in it. He says perfect. This
Wow.
is what I wanted you to draw. So now you have drawn me a perfect sheep.
So because there is no such thing as a perfect sheep. So if you create a box, the way Schrodinger's cat is, that till the time you open, as Sheldon says, till the time you open the box, you don't know whether the cat is dead or alive. So similarly, till the time you open the box, you don't know whether the sheep is perfect or not. So there's no such thing as perfect sheep.
And it's
But
all about your
there's-
imagination. You can imagine it's
about
perfect.
your imagination.
Yeah,
of
so
course.
according to my imagination, it's perfect. It's there in the box. So
Yeah.
yeah, the little prince was fine with it. So let's let's
Okay.
move on, right? So then what happens is that the writer says that it took him a long time to get this thing out of little prince, that from which planet he had come from.
Okay.
And then he wanted to know, and he said that okay, just do tell me name of your planet, like what is it? Is it Jupiter or Mars or so and so?
Okay.
And he said the world that he had come from, there are no names of planets like that. It's
Okay.
just like so and so. There are numbers
Okay.
that have been assigned
Okay.
to the planets,
Okay.
right? So then the writer says that he remembers that once there was a Turkish astronomer,
Okay.
and then he discovered a planet.
Okay.
And no, not a planet, sorry, an asteroid.
Asteroid. Okay. alright.
And he said that he discovered that, and he presented it in an international conference, but he was wearing a Turkish costume. And he said no one took him seriously.
Wow.
And then he said that later on, after the Turkish revolution took place and all that, and then there was some kind of orders of a change in dress and all that. So then he said that he was more westernized then. And then he presented the concept again, but this time his costume was different.
And he was taken seriously?
Yeah, he was taken very seriously.
So what do you get out of it? That the grown-ups care about appearances, okay?
Yeah.
And the kids do not. And that is the whole idea about it, that no matter how important or no matter what sensible thing you're talking about, people won't listen to you till the time you're dressed up in a certain manner. So that's the nightmare of this world. You can't do much about that. Anything else?
So then he says that when every day passed, he learned new things about him. And then the little prince told him that there's a concept of baobabs.
Okay.
So there are kind of huge trees,
Okay.
and since the planet of Little Prince is very small, because there are 3 volcanoes altogether, 2 are active volcanoes and 1 is extinct, that he
Okay.
uses as a footstool.
Okay.
So now you can imagine the size.
The size of the planet. Okay.
So
all right.
and then the active volcanoes he uses to cook his breakfast.
Okay.
Therefore, this is how it goes. And then he says that he takes care of his planet because he has to clean the volcanoes and everything, so that everything is in order. And then he says that one has to look for baobabs as well,
Okay.
because the seed is there, and like if they grow up, then they become huge, and then they can take over the entire planet.
Of course.
So therefore he says a very important thing here. He says that every big problem or catastrophe starts as small. So if you have an eye to detail, so you can,
I mean, I really imagine about
like
it.
nipping something in the bud, like
Yes.
as that goes, that
Yes.
nip something in the
Yes,
nipping evil in the bud or
it's
something of the
nip
sort.
the evil in the bud,
Yeah.
because actually the statement that this statement is more impactful. Why? Because think about it. Everything starts with the smallest of interaction. Literally, the tiniest of interaction that you do, and that becomes the biggest catastrophe or the biggest surprise or the biggest achievement of your life. It starts with small efforts, and it starts with small interactions, and it's the little things that matter. So if you think that you talking to someone today will not matter, you don't know. As per the chaos theory, the butterfly effect, your action today here can impact an action somewhere down the line, somewhere in another part of the world. And then there's another theory, there's a ripple effect as well. So if you do an action today here, it ripple effects in something else bigger in the future. So similarly, it's the tiniest of concepts, or it's the tiniest of efforts, or it's the tiniest of things that matter. And if you nip that evil in the bud, probably you'll be able to save yourselves from that catastrophe. Wow.
Brilliant. Thank you,
Wow.
and thank you for this description.
So it's just my perspective. I mean, I would want to hear.
brilliant perspective. Very interesting one. Okay, so then the writer says that he came to know about Little Prince's
Okay.
sad life little by little.
Okay,
So he calls it a
okay.
sad life, and then he says that he
For
loved
the
the
writer,
sunsets.
it's the sad life.
No, he says the Little Prince's sad life.
Oh, okay.
So
all right,
he
okay.
says that he loved the sun to watch the sunsets.
Okay.
Because whenever he would feel he was sad, he would go and watch the sunset, the Little Prince.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So, so this is another discovery that he makes, and then he says that he asked him more about his life, and then how did he start his journey and everything. And then he says that on his planet, usually flowers would grow,
Okay.
and since flowers are ephemeral beings,
Yes.
so therefore he says that they would usually have a circle of petals,
Of course.
one circle,
Of course. Okay.
or 3 petals altogether. That's
Okay.
it.
Okay.
And then he said that once a seed was blown away,
Okay.
was blown by the winds, and it got planted there on his planet.
Okay. Some
then-
other seed from some other planet.
From some other planet, from some
Okay.
foreign planet.
Okay.
And then it got planted there,
Okay.
and then he looked after it and all that. But then he thought that now that it would be something different, because it's not like ordinary flowers that were
Okay.
there already. So then he waited and waited, and the buds swelled up and all that. And then one day he said that, in all its glory, the flower bloomed.
Okay.
It was rose
It was a rose. Okay.
of red color.
Okay.
And lots and lots and lots of petals.
Okay.
Right? And then he says that this is how he describes it.
Okay.
Then one morning, exactly at sunrise, she suddenly showed herself. Right? And after working with all this painstaking precision, she yawned and said, "Ah, I am scarcely awake. I beg that you will excuse me. My petals are still all disarranged. So, though she was in all her glory and everything, stood there, but then she said that, okay, it's just like I didn't get much. Oh, you look beautiful. Oh, come on, I didn't get
I just woke up like that. You know, the way girls say
like,
today, I just woke up like that. You know,
well,
I don't look,
but,
you know, I'm dressed like a slob today. So, so that's how the rose was reacting.
yeah,
Okay,
so yeah. And then, but the little prince was all in awe, and like he
Must
admired the rose so much.
Okay.
And then he said, "Oh, how beautiful you are! Am I not?" This is what the flower said.
I'm sorry for the reference, but reminds me of Kareena Kapoor and the character Pooh. कौन है जिसने मुझे पीछे मुड़ के नहीं देखा? So I'm sorry. The rose. As for me, the rose is vain. But let's see what the writer says.
Oh yeah, what the writer says.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one thing that we can guess is that there's lots of vanity.
There is lots of vanity.
There's lots
yes.
of vanity, and then yes. And since Rose has seen that the little prince is all in awe, and so therefore she just tried to, kind of
Okay.
present herself in a.
Okay.
Okay. And and then this is how the little prince says. He says the little prince could guess easily enough that she was not any too modest,
Okay.
right? But how moving and exciting she was. So she was very exciting for him.
She was different, she was new, and she was moving, and she was exciting, and she was not modest.
I was not modest at all, right? And then what happened that she too began very quickly to torment him with her vanity,
Okay.
which was, if the truth be known, a little difficult to deal with,
Yes.
right?
Vanity is really difficult to deal with. Okay. And
One day, for instance, when she was speaking of her 4 thorns, she had 4 thorns.
okay.
She said to the little prince, "Let the tigers come with their claws. And then the little prince said, there are no tigers on my planet. I mean, you don't need to use them. You don't." Actually, his idea was that she shouldn't worry about this thing. But she wanted to tell him that I have the thorns and I have so much courage. I can even, fight with the
She was
tigers.
boasting a lot.
She was
Yes.
boasting, but little prince was taking everything so literally, so very literally.
Yes.
He said that no, not at all. Where would you use? And then she said that again she talked about the claws and all that. And then the little prince said, and anyway, tigers do not eat weeds.
How dare you? The rose went like, how dare you call me weed?
And then she said, "I'm not a weed." The flower replied, right? "Please
Kept
excuse
telling
me."
you I'm a rose.
Yeah, and then she says, "Please excuse me."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a weed. And then again she said, "I'm not afraid of tigers," right? And but I have a horror of drafts. I suppose you wouldn't have a screen for me. And then he said that though he has a screen, he had already had a screen for him to, and
okay.
everything, he had made the arrangement. And they said that I'm going to put you under a glass globe at night,
Okay.
and you will be, saved from all that pain and everything, right? But then she interrupted herself at that point. She had come in the form of a seed. She could not have known anything of any other world, right? But then she said that she boasted a lot, and then she started thinking about what is this place like from where I come from, and then she realized that she was basically a seed, so she couldn't have known about any other world before, as she's not seen any other world. And when she had this reality dawned upon her that she has made a mistake, she started coughing a lot, right?
Okay.
And then little prince started thinking that maybe I don't know how to understand her, maybe, or she's not understanding me. I don't know what the reason is.
He got a little uncomfortable with the vanity that was being projected.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
The nagging, probably she used to nag as well.
Yeah.
So, are you understanding what we are understanding? Or do we have to explain everything to you? So, yeah, okay.
Well, I think we were going to leave it to their imaginations
Okay,
because
alright.
this is what makes it very interesting, because when you actually link it up with your own experiences,
That's
you would
the
have come
idea.
across such people in your lives, so you can just link it up, and I think you were going to enjoy it a lot when you were going to read it. It's very, very interesting, right?
Yeah.